So you want to build a new home. Good luck. It's a very scary endeavor. It could be. I always like to explain things to my clients. It's kind of like riding a roller coaster for the first time. It looks scary, but boy, does it look fun. And you go up that big hill and you hear chink, 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 chink. And then you start falling and you're like, oh, shit. And then you're going around and around. And most of us like the roller coaster ride once it comes to a complete halt. And we like it so much, we're going to do it again. So unlike the majority of people, I think, feel that they're not going to build a house again, I try to make the experience that's so enjoyable that you would do it again, because it should feel like a roller coaster ride. Because it is scary. It looks fun. You go through moments of fear and anxiety, but ultimately, it's a great experience when it's all said and done. So I've been building homes now for approximately 27 years. I started my career with a very large builder. It was a national builder, and I worked with them in 3 different states. I had a great time. I was a mentor, a trainer, an area manager, project manager, superintendent, you name it. I've done it all. And the experience there was phenomenal. That led me to a startup company, of which I worked for a year, and it was just before the 2008 meltdown, which the Midwest here felt it in 2005. I remember moving my wife and one child, and then we had our second child up to Detroit, and everything was going great, and all of a sudden, the Detroit Free Press put on the cover of the front page, I think it was 4 or 5 words: Ford lays off 4,000 people. So the writing was on the wall. So I decided to reach out to a long-time co-worker of mine, and we had talked about starting a company. So we started Blossom Homes. I put everything together. I'd set up banks. I set up banks. I start talking to some architects, and I start reaching out to land people that understand land and lots, and created a concept. Going back to Detroit, I ended up working with a very good marketing person, and the concept of the company I worked for was all about a certain concept and floor plans, and the culture and different things of the company all revolved around the name of the company. So I came up with the concept of Blossom Homes. Blossom Homes started in January of 2005, and unfortunately, I had to shut down the company in November of 2019. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I had some great clients I've worked with. I worked with many different types of clients, built many different types of homes. I say all this because I'm a no BS kind of builder. It is what it is. And I talk about the roller coaster ride, but I also transition that to it is what it is. When you do what I do and live what I live every single day, I'm interacting with many different types of people. Clients like yourself, tradesmen who are in the field, suppliers who are at a desk or in the field, and of course the different types of people that come and go within that industry, as far as your land people, your banks, your realtors, and things like that. And so I've always tried to align myself with the best. And the reason why you want to align yourself obviously with the best is because the best have experienced the worst. Because in this business, anything and everything happens. It's those that pay attention to the bad things that happen that make themselves better and better and better and better. And at the end of the day, you want to be the best you can and do the best you can. I will tell you, it just doesn't start now. Growing up, I'm one of 7 boys. I'm the middle boy. The middle child always gets dumped on and always can give it. But at the same time, you're not the youngest, you're not the oldest. So you kind of are the middle child. So shit kind of happens. I always tried to make myself known. I was pretty good at it. And I think that's one of the driving forces behind who I am. I always remember my dad always saying, do the right thing, do the right thing. No matter what, you got to do the right thing. And ultimately, that's how I live my life. I live by these phrases. It's the 5 P's and the 5 W's and H. Proper planning prevents poor performance. And who, what, when, where, why, and how. And I try to teach my kids and my wife and I, my wife Marky, we have 5 wonderful children. They're teenagers now, and they're not so wonderful. But we're going through it. We're going just like everyone else does. But I try to instill that same mental mindset with them is no matter what, do the right thing. You got to do the right thing, guys. It sucks. You got to tell the truth and do the right thing. I'm going to take it back now to riding a roller coaster and talking about the different pieces and parts of home building and how it relates to the 5 P's, the 5 W's, and the H, along with doing the right thing. When clients take an endeavor, specifically looking to buy a new home, they're either growing out of their old home, growing out of their existing home that they've had for several years, and they're looking to either remodel, build, or put an addition on and remodel. I always tell them you have to start with what makes the most sense, both for your personal life and, of course, financially. Because we all know, it's obviously commonplace common sense. Your home is your biggest, most prideful, most financial investment. We all go through all the ups and downs living in a home. One of the things that I've, through my experience with Blossom and working with many different types of clients, I built many different types of homes. And because I'm a custom home builder, you're customized, customer, hence custom home, customer. The customer designs, works with a builder, an architect, what have you, pictures, and designs their custom home because they're the customer. I try to help facilitate the different cost analysis, products, the land that goes with the house to fit what that custom home should be. So it starts with obviously a concept of what the customer wants and needs are. No matter what, we have to get your needs accomplished. Needs are first on the sheet. Then I always ask clients to, and of course I'm helping along the way, in the design development phase I would call it, is to tier your wants, because we all have a budget. It has to make financial sense. So by organizing your wants as a tier 1 want, which are the most important just after needs, a tier 2 want, which are next most important, followed by a tier 3 want, which are the least important, pie in the sky, win the lottery, let's get it done. Because obviously we can do anything we want at that point in time, right? So, but by tiering it, and having it make sense in your head of all these different thoughts and things that you've gone through in your existing home, or as you're living in your home and dreaming about building that custom home. You now organizes those specific ideas to what those costs should be, or what your desired expenditures should be based on those needs, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 wants. What it does is it helps formulate the idea or the organization of, okay, I now understand what my desires are within a home based on the stuff I just mentioned. Where am I going to build this at? How am I going to, how does this fit my wants and needs? So we have to obviously put a piece of land with it. I always ask clients, please, before you buy a piece of property, because there's several times where I've met clients in the past through different occasions, through events that I've been involved with, whether it's the Home and Garden Show or the convention center has different things, through Home Builders Association, through cityhub.com, I meet clients, and just through obviously working with my signs on different lots. And we discuss how to make these work. And through getting myself involved up front and researching the land to make sure we can properly design a home that we understand, you foundationally, and I'm going to touch on this later, through foundationally understanding of what your needs and wants are, we can now help design the home to fit on that proper lot. There's a lot of unknown things on many different type of lots. I do a lot of work down in the city of Cleveland. Those lots have been built on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Some once. Some we don't know. We just don't have a clue. And so, do we do a pre-dig? Do we do research through county records? You can go to fire marshal station over at Superior. You can go through water pollution control. Ultimately, there's many things we need to understand. Or you're going to build on 25 acres. Done that as well. You're going to build a half mile off the road. Yes, I built a house a half mile off the road. The house was almost 2,800 feet off the road, and we had to determine how to get the driveway and where the gas service was going to be and all the different costs associated with that. So in between all those, there's a set process to try to follow. It's understanding how to incorporate your needs and wants into the lot selection to properly devise a budget. What's that cost you? Typically, I try to get at least a $5,000 deposit, no matter what I'm doing, because it takes a lot of time and effort to put forth this work to determine how this will all make sense. Ultimately, I've had clients that didn't put their best foot forward, trying to work with a builder up front, myself, and who's willing to meet and review the lot so you don't make a poor lot purchase, because that's no good, because now you're sitting on a piece of land that you can't build your dream home on. And how deflating is that? I've been there. I've been there with people crying a couple times because they had already owned the dirt. And their lot, excuse me. It's another lingo we use. And it sucks. It sucks. And so, again, I'm going to go back to proper planning prevents poor performance. Well, they didn't know. They didn't know. They didn't plan it out because they didn't understand. They're excited, and they thought it was a great deal to buy that land. It was a great deal. But next thing you know, the water service wasn't there. Water service is across the street. You got to bore the road. You got to open cut the road because they don't allow you to bore the road. They got to repatch the road. It could be $15,000 by the time it's all said and done. Oh, by the way, we ran new sewers down the road, and because that lot was vacant, we never put a stub in. So now we got to cut the road for a sewer stub. 15 grand later, you got sewer to the house, but it's another unforeseen budget that it was a great deal on the lot, but no water, no sewer. That's what was a great deal, because now you're 30 grand more in the hole, if you will, or an expenditure that now takes away from your dream home, where you have all these needs and wants, and now your tier 2 and tier 3 wants are completely gone because they were absorbed by a water and sewer, which are no value to you, but of course you need them to live in your home properly, and of course habitate the home. So I try to, and boy, I'm really passionate about what I do. You probably can tell by the way I'm talking. I really care for yourself. And I'm going to sidebar here for a second. When I say care, I care about the budget because I don't like surprises any more than you do. No one likes surprises. Do you know how much time the big words are change orders cost a builder? So much. You do so much planning up front. We design the specs. We put so much time into the pre-development stage before we go to contract. And that's why a deposit's important, because they spend so much time putting that together, because it's for us to have an enjoyable build, because it should be like a roller coaster ride. It should be very enjoyable, fun, a little scary, but it should be so much fun that you want to do it again. It's those clients that didn't go through it, proper planning things out, asking all the questions, or having a builder to ask those questions from them to absorb that information, to have it make sense in the building environment, that don't want to ride the roller coaster again, that don't want to build again because it's a nightmare. And so we want to make sure we take the time to do all that so you will enjoy the process. But my sidebar is my own home. I built 800 feet off the road. And I had built just not far from here, I built another house about 1,000 feet off the road. And a certain utility company allowed me to put a transformer in. Well, I just gave it away. And ultimately, it was covered by their costs. I was expecting that. So my expectations were, poor planning, is that I would be able to absorb that similar cost. Well, the company had ended, First Energy had ended that. And what sucks is I had to come up with approximately $5,200. And so that ate out of my tier 2 wants, and part of tier 1, I should say. So I make mistakes also. I'm human. We all make mistakes. All we can do is learn from them and try to make sure we get as much information up front so we can properly account for those items prior to going into the build process. So once you get your construction loan, we'll touch on that in a second, you can have things accounted for so you don't have to absorb those costs and remove some of your wants. So then we get into the construction process. And man, it's a great process. It really is, because the process it's like eating an elephant, right? Where do I start? What do I do? Well, the answer to that is you one bite at a time. So I try to break it down to make it, once you can take a bite, and 2, you can chew it. So, you have your pre-construction meeting, we meet, we're getting ready to start. Obviously we've gone through the whole process of designing the plan, putting the budget together, and putting together a correct set of building specifications, correct to your needs and wants. And we begin the process. We've gone through, we've gotten the bank financing in place. We've gone through and then got our permits, and we're getting ready to roll and put a shovel in the ground. So again, I try to re-huddle. We huddle and we go through and we say, okay, here's what we're doing. We're getting started. Let's roll. By the way, at that point in time, you have to have some of your selections done, finalized 100%. Because I can tell you this, and I may repeat myself again during this video, once it goes, the process goes. So you need to have all your exterior selections selected, 100% in concrete. You're going to be asked to sign off on those because we're going to order up. Why is that? lead times, which are greater than ever with this whole COVID stuff. I used to be able to get certain things, windows and doors and trusses, in approximately 4 weeks. Those days are gone. We're up to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks in some of those items. So the reason why I mention that is, and I'm going to go back to the construction loan. Construction loan gives us a certain amount of time to build a house. So when you sign papers on your construction loan, they're going to want the house done 8, 10, 12 months. Can you imagine if you don't have things selected and you go through the process, not properly planning things out or not getting certain directions from your builder of how long it might take to build your house? It could go up to 2 years if you miss all those deadlines and don't select things on time. So we have to work together to understand that timeline so we can move forward correctly in ordering things to get them on time. So once we start, we're going to want to have those selections made. Your exterior selection's done. Obviously, windows, doors, siding, roofing, your coil, your gutters, because you don't want it. You personally, you don't want to select those items individually because you want it all to go together. So that's why it's important for you to put those selections together and select it all at once, because it's going to be a greater success. Again, proper planning prevents poor performance. If you plan things out and you select all those things at the same time and you put them all together, you're going to have a beautiful looking home.